Hello, everyone. Good morning. I'm Anna. I'm speaking from Brazil, from Recife, right now, and I'm very pleased to be here. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm the director of the Institute for Research on Internet and Society, which is a non-profit organization founded in 2015 here in Brazil, at Minas Gerais. And I'm here to share a little about our context regarding AI challenges, regulation, and other things. And I dare to say that probably is not that far away from the challenges that you are all facing abroad. So I will be glad to keep this conversation after this conference, and you can all reach me by email, and it will be a pleasure to talk and to exchange with you all. So thank you, and let's talk. Well, we believe that technology is not neutral. It carries worldviews, political and economic choices, and above all, real impacts people's lives. So that's why we argue that the voice of those most affected by digital transformation must be at the center of this conversation. In other words, any discussion about technological innovation should begin with the needs, rights, and lived experience of the people who are directly impacted. And very often is not the case when we look at how regulations are made and how the process of governance are conducted. Over the past 10 years, we have structured our work at IRIS, the Institute for Research on Internet and Society, in three main lines. And the first is security and technology, where we discuss the importance of digital tools for privacy, data protections, the right to encryption, and how to face gender violence online and other things. The second is meaningful connectivity, which focuses not only on physical access to the internet, but also on the conditions to enable full, critical, and transformative participation in the digital environment. And finally, we have social governance of technology, which addresses social innovation, governance, participation, and the creation of a sustainable and inclusive technological future. Brazil is a historically unequal country, and it's our responsibility to understand how systems of discrimination and exclusion have evolved over time so we can effectively address them. One basic challenge nowadays is the level of digital literacy of our population that still needs to improve significantly to ensure that everyone can benefit from new technologies. And it is linked with misinformation problem, for example, aggravated with the popularization of AI that costs a lot to our democracy and our society. Another challenge is the availability and quality of connectivity infrastructure, which remains insufficient in remote areas and for socioeconomically vulnerable populations. These obstacles highlight that digital transformation cannot be considered only from a technical perspective, but it must take into account the diverse cultural, geographic, and social realities of a such large country as Brazil. Therefore, we discuss technological development. We focus on a central concern, ensuring that the new tools do not simply become a modernization of structural violence that has persisted from centuries in Brazil, But we believe that it's not enough to build more sophisticated systems. We must ask what problems these systems are actually solving, who they are serving, and which voices are left out of the decision-making process when we talk about technological and scientific development. In the recent years, part of our work has focused on artificial intelligence in Brazil, and we have contributed to building a solid regulatory framework and strengthening social narratives capable of guiding the development of technology in an inclusive and anti-discriminatory way. This is crucial, given the increasingly clear evidence that historically marginalized groups, including Black people, Indigenous people, transgender individuals, people with disabilities, have been disproportionately harmed by the rapid and often uncritical development of AI systems. Recognizing this problem is the first step, and the second is to build collectively and democratically mechanisms to ensure technology serves to fight against discrimination and promote social justice. As a research institution, one of very often challenge is having the support needed to develop a genuinely Brazilian understanding of AI dilemmas and possibilities. And too often we find ourselves debating regulations important from the global north, which may be relevant in their own context and even to discuss with them, but are insufficient and even unsustainable in Brazil. For this reason, we strive to produce scientific, technical, and independent knowledge, enabling us to contribute effectively to regulations and innovations that make sense for Global South. And Brazil is currently undergoing an intensive regulatory discussion in the field of AI and digital technology. Beyond debates on social media regulation, digital market regulation, and the recent legislation protecting children and teenagers online that we have approved a few days ago. We have made significant progress also in our AI regulatory framework. The most mature proposal in this regard is the Bill 2338, which has already been approved by the Federal Senate and now is under review by the Special Committee in the Chamber of Deputies. Its process has been long and involving hundreds of written contributions, numerous public hearings, an international seminar, the creation of a commission of jurists, and a Senate committee dedicated to the topic. That makes it the most advanced AI legislative proposal currently in Brazil. And the draft incorporates key elements for ethical and responsible AI development, including a risk-based approach, the creation of a list of rights, proportional governance measures, an institutional oversight framework, and mechanisms to incentivize responsible innovation. Some highlights that I could share with you are symmetric regulation based on risk levels, preventing regulatory overload for low-risk systems, establishing of basic rights and guarantees for individuals potentially affected, definition of unacceptable AI use that are prohibited from implementation, general governance obligations complemented by specific duties for high-risk systems and public authorities, and algorithmic impact assessment used to identify and mitigate risks and analyze opportunities. The regulatory process has been closely monitored by Brazilian civil society, such as Digital Rights Network, which brings together over 50 organizations. And a key effort has been to overcome false trade-offs often presented in these debates, such as framing innovation and regulation as opposite. IRIS has actively contributed to this debate, both through participation in public hearings or publishing technical notes. And we believe that AI is undoubtedly a technology of our time. But as the title of this panel suggests, we cannot find blind. And its costs are not fully clear, and neither are its benefits. It is therefore essential to ensure that benefits are fairly distributed and that costs do not fall in the most vulnerable populations. In Brazil, conflicts are already emerging between communities and companies seeking to establish data centers, with debates about energy, socioeconomic, and environment impact. And at the same time, considering inequalities in internet access, meaningful connectivity, and low digital literacy, it becomes evident that the benefits of the digital technologies are not equitably distributed. In many cases, they are far from addressing the most urgent needs of our population. So, that's a little overview about the discussion in Brazil. I keep available to keep talking. You can reach me by mail, Bárbara at irisbh.com.br. And thank you once again for this opportunity for dialogue, and I hope we can talk more soon, and have a good day and a good conference, everyone.